Less than 48 hours after Reagan Tokes' body was found in a park in Grove City, Ohio, Brian Goldsby was arrested. Cops found DNA on a cigarette butt in her car matching his.
At that time, we still can't prove that he is the one that killed her, but he was in that car at some point.
The registered sex offender was well known to investigators.
You don't forget when he rapes a pregnant lady. It just doesn't happen.
Lieutenant Brian Davidson says Goldsby served 6 years in prison after pleading guilty to armed robbery and attempted rape. He likely would have received a longer sentence, but the pregnant rape victim wouldn't testify in court.
She was scared. She didn't know what else he would be capable of.
Cops now felt he was capable of murder. Goldsby is arrested, having only been out of prison for 3 months. He was living in a court-ordered group home.
There's a midway point for people who get out of prison to stay that doesn't have anywhere else to go.
Detective Rick Fournay interrogated Goldsby following the rape of the pregnant woman.
Will you tell me the truth on why you took that money from that lady a few weeks ago?
7 years later, he's sitting directly across the table from the convicted sex offender again.
Tell me the truth. Where were you Wednesday?
Did he remember you?
He did not.
Brian, you're not here by accident. You're here because we have a pretty good amount of evidence on what happened.
Much of that evidence is in a folder sitting right in front of Goldsby, and it's making him very nervous.
So with this stuff, I know that y'all was gonna pay for it.
As we started going, I would give him a little bit of information, and then he would give us a little bit of information.
Oh, how did y'all even know to look for me?
DNA from the car.
My DNA?
Yep. Tell me the truth.
Okay.
No cigarette butt in there.
Right away, Brian Goldsby admits he was in Reagan's car the night she was killed.
What was her reaction when you got in the car with her? Okay, and you told her you wanted what?
Because she didn't have any cash on her, Goldsby says he forced Reagan to drive to several ATMs attempting to make withdrawals. Cops already knew they had the ATM receipts and photos from the banks.
And the video was very poor, but you could see somebody in the background in the passenger seat of Reagan's car.
What Goldsby didn't know is that cops couldn't clearly make out if it was him in the photos, but they continue to shake him for information.
What does that look like?
Anything that's at all.
How'd you get in her car? Did you?
Nothing. I just asked her to open the door. She opened the door.
No way.
No way.
No way, man.
If he didn't have a gun as he claims, detectives ask what kept Reagan from simply running away.
You're not that intimidating. I don't mean to say that to be rude, but this girl had plenty of chances to get the away from you. How'd you keep her there? How?
I said all I wanted was the money and everything would be all right.
Goldsby first claims after getting $60 from the ATM, he forces Reagan to drive to the park. Once there, he orders her out of the car, makes her undress, then leaves her in the field.
Did you have sex with her girl?
No.
You sure?
Positive.
But if she wasn't sexually assaulted, why make her undress?
I had been thinking so she wouldn't be able to go nowhere.
Well, you left her out there in the cold naked. You don't see that's how up that is?
That's when detectives tell Goldsby DNA found on Reagan's body is being tested.
Any of your DNA going to be any fatal response? No.
Goldsby insists he didn't sexually assault Reagan Tokes, and he didn't kill her.
Explain to us how she got shot in the head.
How do you want me to explain that?
When's the last time you shot her?
I never shot her.
That's when detectives leave the room to devise a new strategy. After a couple of minutes, one returns and insists Goldsby must have had an accomplice.
Is there a second person?
Why y'all lying to me now?
Because it's not going to make it.
You haven't lied at all night. It does make a difference? I want to know.
The suggestion that someone else may have been involved was suddenly very appealing, and Goldsby's story quickly takes a dramatic turn.
Well, it makes a
die,
difference.
dude.
Kids ain't gonna die. We can look out for them.
Goldsby now claims a man named TJ had been demanding money from him. He says if he didn't come up with the cash, TJ would harm his kids.
Whose idea was it to go get the girl?
It wasn't to specifically get a specific person.
To get money.
Yes.
Goldsby tells detectives after he abducted and robbed Reagan, he thought they'd let her go. But then TJ forced him to rape her at gunpoint. Goldsby claims he was as terrified as Reagan herself.
I wanted to just rather call the cops for real. I could have, but at the same time, I didn't want to put my baby in jeopardy.
After getting to the park, he says TJ made Reagan undress, and then he shot her twice in the head.
So I'm like, bro, what is you doing, bro? You said just gonna let her go. He's like, bro, shut
The detective pretends to believe every bit of Goldsby's story,
I believe you. You're gonna help me find TJ.
but in fact, they already knew he was lying.
There was no TJ.
There's no TJ.
It was all a ruse to get more information out of him, and it worked, because Goldsby thought cops bought his accomplice story. He pointed them right to all the evidence.
Where's your clothes at?
Every now and again, I would.
And her cell phone?
Silver phone.
Where you from?
And some bushes.
He even pointed them right to the murder weapon.
The gun was inside of a storm sewer. We found 2 spent casings inside another sewer grate.
Detectives now had plenty of evidence linking Brian Goldsby to the murder of Reagan Tokes, but they were about to have even more. Compliments of something he was wearing at the time of his arrest.
He did have a GPS ankle monitor on him.
Up next, tracking Brian Goldsby's every move, what the registered sex offender had already been up to since leaving prison,
You know, I was really just in shock.
and the sickening real reason why he robbed Reagan Tokes.
Demented. I don't have any other words for it.
But the convicted sex offender blamed it on someone else.
His story at the end of everything was that TJ made him rape her